We're going to talk a little bit about waterfalls today, some waterfalls that we got around here. This part of the Ozarks is really blessed to have lots and lots of waterfalls. And I don't know what it is about waterfalls, but it's just there's just something about being around a waterfall that makes you kind of feel calm, you know, because there's all that good sound and they're real pretty. But you want to be able to get there and get back safely. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. If you have any questions about a particular waterfall, I just ask, and then we'll have some time at the end if anybody has any questions after that. Okay. So going out to look at waterfalls is a pretty easy thing. You don't have to have a lot of equipment or anything. All you need is just a little ability to walk a little bit. But we're going to look at some waterfalls here that you can see right out your car window. And then we're going to look at some that maybe require just a little bit of a hike. And almost all of these are fairly easy to get to. Kind of the way the pictures are going to go when we get started with that is I'm kind of going to go from the easiest to get to the hardest to get to. So anyway, so what kind of tools would you want to have if you're going to go on a hike to see waterfalls?
Camera.
You don't really need a whole lot, but if you're really probably the number one thing I would recommend that you would get would be this book by Tim Ernst, Arkansas Waterfalls. And I saw somebody carry one in earlier, so yeah, he's got one. But this book is just an amazing book. It's got the directions to how to get to 200 different waterfalls. And some of them are real easy. Like we said, some of them you can see right out your car window. But not only does it have the driving directions and the hiking directions and how high the waterfall is, but you know, most people are familiar with Tim's beautiful photography. So his book has a lot of really nice waterfall pictures. And I know you can get this like out of Hobbs State Park Visitor Center. Bookstore would probably have it, or you can order it right from Tim at timernst.com, I believe it is. So this is a real handy tool for going out and finding waterfalls. And while you're at it, if you want to get another one of Tim's books, this is just a real nice picture book, Arkansas Waterfalls. It just has a lot of Tim's just really excellent, beautiful photography. So that's another good waterfall book to have. Most of the waterfalls, you got to hike a little bit. So it's pretty good to have like a hiking stick to take along with you. Because sometimes you have to step over little ledges and stuff. So it kind of helps steady you. And a lot of people like to carry two hiking sticks. And I'm just a one-stick guy. So I like to tell people, well, when I started hiking, this stick was 10 feet tall. So those are just some tools to have. Another real handy tool is to have some waterproof shoes. Because if you're going to go look at waterfalls, especially after a rain, which is the best time to go look, the trail's probably going to be muddy. So if you have some waterproof shoes are good to have, because you're probably going to get your feet wet and muddy. Either that or just put some extra shoes in the car for when you drive home if you don't want to have wet feet. I just never liked having wet feet very much. So I'd say those and a camera, about all you need. So another safety thing, you know, you go hike to a waterfall, and it can be a kind of a dangerous little pastime, because a lot of times on some waterfalls you're walking around on the top of a cliff. The safest waterfalls to go look at, and if you have Tim's book there, it kind of tells you which ones, are the waterfalls that when you hike to it, you end up at the bottom of the waterfall. Those are the most safest ones to go see. And You know, we all want to take our kids and grandkids out on waterfall hikes, and it's really a good experience for them, but you want to make sure that you take them to a waterfall that's safe. And in Tim's book, in the front of it, he even has a little page where he tells what waterfalls that he thinks are suitable for kids. So what I always like to tell people is if you're going to take kids on to a waterfall hike, it's a good idea for the adults to go look at it first and make sure it's okay to take the kids, and then take the kids on this, another hike, you know, after you checked it out. Another safety thing that I think is real important is you get in the car, the first thing you want to do is stop at the gas station and fill up your tank. Because if you're going to drive down where a lot of these waterfalls are, the gas is few and far between. In fact, one waterfall we're going to look at called Natural Dam. If you leave Siloam Springs and you drive, it's probably 50 miles down to Natural Dam waterfall, there's not one gas station. So, and you never know, like if you're driving down the Pig Trail, you know, which is Highway 23 that goes through the Ozark National Forest down toward Ozark. Well, there's been 2 times where I've been driving on that, and the one reason why it's so nice is because they let all the trees grow real close to the highway. Every now and then, one of those trees falls on the highway, and the last time I was there, we were lucky that there were some good old boys, and one of them had a chainsaw. So he cut the tree out of the way. Otherwise, you would have had to sit there, or you might have to make another real big detour to get home. So that's why it's a good idea to start out with a full tank of gas. Other than that, I think you know, you just got to kind of watch your step and pick you know, waterfalls that aren't too dangerous. In Tim's book, there's waterfalls that are easy to get to and some that require miles of bushwhack hiking, and we're not going to show any of those. We'll go ahead and look at a few waterfall photos now. Another thing about the waterfalls in Tim's book, most of them didn't have names. So when he went to do his book, he got to name most of the waterfalls. Some of them already had a name, but he just went ahead and named them himself. And he calls this one Six Finger Falls. This is one of the harder ones to get to because it's kind of a long drive. Anyway, it's down by, if you know where Pelser and Lurton and Ben Hur and all that little area is down there, well, you go past through the little town of Ben Hur, I believe it's Highway 16, and you come to Forest Road 1205, which I like to call Waterfall Avenue, because there's this waterfall and there's others that are right close to the roadway. Easy waterfall to get to. Probably a lot of you have been to this waterfall. It's right in Bella Vista. I believe it's called Pinion Creek Falls. To get there, you just go up 71 like you're going up to Missouri, like maybe if you're going to Macadoodles or something. And you turn right on Pinion Drive, and there's a lumber yard there, and you just go around the lumber yard to the left, go straight a little ways, and you start going up the hill at Lake Ann Dam, and you'll see a hiking trail that crosses the road. Well, you just park right there, and the waterfall is just a little ways over to your left. It's right along one of the back 40 hiking trails. So there's this really cool bridge there that you can take pictures from and you know, walk around. But it's okay to get down there, and if you want to go down below the waterfall, maybe get a picture from up above. Well, you can do that too. Just kind of another view of it. There's not a parking area there. You just kind of got to park on the side of the road. But I've only been, the most cars I've ever seen there when I've been there is one. So here's another really neat waterfall in Bella Vista. This one comes out of the Lake Windsor Spillway and makes this waterfall right here. Now the way to get to this one is go to Bella Vista and go to the Tanyard Creek Nature Trail. A lot of you have probably been there. And you just park there and you start hiking down the trail. kind of stay to the left, and I think there's even a little sign that says Waterfall. And it's probably not quite a mile hike up to this waterfall. It's a pretty easy hike. So it's a really pretty one. And the creek that goes down from the waterfall in itself is real pretty as well. Here's an easy one to drive to. Nice pickup. This is down by the Mulberry River. You go past Tumbling Store, and you keep going like you're going to Ozark. This is on the pig trail where you got to watch out for those trees that might have fallen on the road. And this one obviously is just right beside the highway. And if you keep on going, there's a little gravel pull-off area that you can park if you want to get out and walk around to this waterfall here. I would call it, you can't miss it waterfall. If I was going to name that, I would name it that. This is kind of an interesting waterfall. It's not very big. I think this is called Moonshiner's Cave, because my friend that took me here and showed it to me, this is down by Devil's Den State Park. Not really on the park property. It's just kind of off the highway a little bit. But evidently, a long time ago, somebody had built like a bluff shelter there or something like that. And the legend is that they made moonshine there. So that's how it got named Moonshine Waterfall or whatever. Moonshine something. But I didn't see any moonshine when I was there. Or anybody making any. This is a real neat waterfall. Another one that's real easy to get to. It's in Oklahoma, just west of Siloam Springs, called Natural Falls State Park. And you just go through Siloam Springs on Highway 412, and you go about 6 miles, and there's a huge sign that says Natural Falls State Park. And unlike Arkansas state parks, which are free, I believe they charge you $5 a car to go to this waterfall here.
They didn't charge us last time we went.
Oh, okay, well that's good. Anyway, this is right by the parking lot, and you park there, and you can look at this waterfall here. And there's a trail that goes around. It's probably a couple miles. It goes down to the bottom of the waterfall. It's just a real good little place to go hiking for a day and check out some waterfalls. One thing I should have mentioned at the start. How come we're talking about waterfalls in the winter when it's cold? And, not why are we talking about waterfalls in late May and June when it's real nice and warm and good to hike? Well, all our waterfalls are dependent on rainfall. You got no rainfall here, you got no waterfall. Another thing about this time of year, why this is the real waterfall hiking season, is all the trees and grass are dormant. So when we get a couple inches of rain, a lot more of that water runs off into our little creeks and streams. So it doesn't take a whole lot of rain to get these waterfalls going in the winter, whereas in the summer when all the grass and trees are drinking up all the rainwater, it just takes a lot more rain to get these waterfalls started. Plus, in the winter and early spring, when you go on a waterfall safari, you don't have to worry about ticks or chiggers or any stuff like that. So that's kind of why this is real prime waterfall season. We really don't have any spring-fed waterfalls around here. Where Blanchard Springs Caverns comes out, that's pretty much comes out of a cave down there, but that's pretty far to go. But. So anyway, that's just kind of one thing to remember about our waterfalls. This is Natural Dam Waterfall. This is the one that I've said if you go from Siloam down to here, you really better have lots of gas. But you look at this waterfall, and it really looks man-made. It looks like somebody had actually built a dam there, but it's all totally natural. And you just drive down Highway 59, and you come to the little community of Natural Dam. And there's one paved road that goes off to the right, and this waterfall, you go about maybe 200 yards down that road, and you'll actually there's a low water bridge that you go across, and there's a parking area there, and you can get out and explore around this waterfall here. So it's a real neat one. She was saying when she was there last time, there was a lot of litter and stuff. Well, I got this thing about I always carry a trash bag in my car or truck, especially when we go fishing, because my fishing buddy and I know this is true, that if you pick up some litter around where you're gonna put your boat in or canoe, it increases your karma with the fish. So we do that before every trip. And we've been down, if there's no litter around, we maybe get something out of our car and put it in the trash. So anyway, you know, I just can't understand why people litter, you know? But it happens, so we just try to do our little part to kind of keep things clean. But this is a real neat one. You can see how you might think it's man-made, because it looks just like a regular dam. I believe this is called High Bank Waterfall, and it's down by the Mulberry River. So you get there, take the pig trail, like you're going to go down to the Mulberry River, or like you're going to go to Turner Bend store, where a lot of you have probably been to, and you'll see Highway 215 goes off to the left before you get to the little town of Cass and Turner Bend store and all that. Well, that road 215 is called the Mulberry River Scenic Byway. And after a big rain, there's not just this waterfall, but there's all kinds of other little waterfalls to see. This is a real good spot to go to, and this is probably the best waterfall there. You go, when you're going down the Mulberry River Scenic Byway toward Ozark. A lot of you have been to Ozark and the general store there, you know, and really good food. You'll come to the High Bank Canoe Access. We'll just park there and just walk down the highway just a little bit, and you'll see a trail off to the left. It's pretty well worn, and it goes maybe 200 yards up to this waterfall here. So it's not a very hard one to get to. The trail is kind of rocky, you know, so the footings might be a little bit dicey, but just kind of it's when your hiking stick will come in handy. But this is a real pretty waterfall. So when I take waterfall pictures, I like to try to get a person in my picture. It gives it some scale. You know, you can kind of tell how big the waterfall is, where if there's no person, sometimes it's kind of hard to tell the size of the waterfall. And one thing you'll notice in Tim Ernst's book, that I notice it anyway, is almost every photo in his waterfall guidebook has a person in it. So that told me, well, if he's doing that, having a person's pretty good. But then you look in this other waterfall book, the picture book, and hardly any waterfall in that book's got a person in it. So anyway, it's just kind of my little thing I like to do, is try to get a person in my photo, or something that'll show scale. So this is another one that's real easy to get to. It's a real short walk from your car to this waterfall. And I could drive to it right now practically with my eyes closed. But there's no way I could tell you how to get there. It's out in the boons, out in the Madison County Wildlife Management Area. But if you get Tim's book, he's got some driving directions about how to get there. So Tim, he named this Road 299 Waterfall. And they probably changed the number of the road by now. But when we went there the first time, I mean, there were icicles hanging all over the place, and it was so cool. So my friend and I, we said, well, we're just going to name this Icicle Falls. So that's what we've been calling it ever since. But anyway, this is in the Madison County Wildlife Management Area, out north of Huntsville, sort of by the Ozark Natural Science Center, over in that neighborhood if you've been down there. I don't know if you all know Alan Bland, the retired Corps of Engineer park ranger. Everybody calls him Mr. Beaver Lake. But anyway, that's Alan right there. So everybody asks, how's Alan doing? I said, he's doing pretty good. He's liking his retirement. There's another waterfall that's right close to that one, and you can park real close to it. This gal where we park is, you can't see a car or anything, but you can park real close right there. And just walk down that little trail, and you can see this nice waterfall here. It's called Glory Be Waterfall. And it's a real nice one. Another one that's real easy to get to. You can even walk back behind it and kind of get a different look. So it's a good one to put on your list. It's a really good waterfall to take kids to. This one here, nice and safe. I was talking about Forest Road 1205 down by Ben Hur and Lurton. Well, this is probably my favorite waterfall on that. Along Waterfall Avenue, which I like to call that road. But you're going to have to be darn lucky to see it flowing this big, because when we went there and got this picture, it had really rained all night long, and I think it was still raining when we left. So when we got there, these waterfalls, man, I mean, they were rocking. So this is a real pretty one. Actually, from where Tao is, the car is probably 20 feet over that way. So that's one of them that you could actually see without even getting out of the car. It's in the Ozark National Forest down near the community of Ben Hur. You go through Ben Hur and don't blink or you'll miss it. I think you go about a mile past Ben Hur and you'll see it's a really pretty large gravel road that goes off to the left. The last time I was there wasn't any sign that said 1205. But that's the name of the forest road. Maybe they've got a sign there now, but it's a pretty big road, and it leads down to the Richland Creek kind of camping area down there. And if you're going to go all the way to that, there's a low water bridge that you have to cross. And unless you got like a high clearance 4-wheel drive or it's not very wet, when we went there, we were able to get across. But my friend that was driving had a big high. Like a Suburban or something like that, 4-wheel drive. But anyway, you don't have to go that far to see this waterfall or that first one, that Six Finger Falls that we showed, which is this one right here. This is right along that Forest Road 1205. There's not any sign there, but if you drive along that road, if you see like a little faint footpath that leads off the road, there's probably a really good chance that little footpath is going to lead to a waterfall. And that's the way this one is here. You just kind of got to watch for that little footpath. But this is just a really unique waterfall, I think. It's really worth going down there to see sometime if you don't mind the drive. I'd say from here to get to this waterfall would probably take maybe 2.5 hours. Another neat thing about going here is you're real close to Pedestal Rock's natural area, which is just a fabulous hiking area. It's a 4-mile trail through there. And there's another really nice waterfall along that hike, which I don't have a picture of it here, but that's just another, you could make a whole day out of going down there, seeing these and going on that hike. And probably a lot of you have been to this waterfall. So this is Eden Falls at Lost Valley. Lost Valley is just a beautiful place down by Ponca near the Buffalo River. It's about a mile hike back to this waterfall. It's a good one for kids, and the hike is fairly level until you get to the very end, and then there's a little climbing involved. There's a big bluff shelter that's as big as a cathedral there. And anyway, it goes back to this waterfall here, and this is a waterfall that I would highly recommend to go during the week, because if it's nice out and this Lost Valley gets pretty busy. But if you can go during the week, that would be the prime time to go. So there's kind of a three-tiered waterfall here. If you hike up to the top of it, there's a cave, and it used to be you could crawl back in there, and there's a waterfall back in that cave. But right now, I'm pretty sure that would be closed because of the white nose syndrome and bats, where all the wild caves like that are closed, and they don't want you to go back in them. This is one of the most unique waterfalls that we have around here. This is the Glory Hole Waterfall. Another one that you want to go to during the week if possible, because on the weekend this one can be real busy and there's like nowhere to park. There's a little bitty parking area and there's some parking alongside the highway, so you just kind of got to park there the best that you can. It's not hard to get to. It's right along Highway 21. In Tim's book, it tells you how to get there. All I can tell you is Right where you park, there's a gate. So that tells you a lot, right? But Tim's book will get you right there. So there's a really nice creek, and you walk down this creek about a mile or so, and the creek over time has actually bored a hole through this rock shelf here, and it just disappears. And it comes out the other side to this waterfall here. So this is the Glory Hole waterfall. You start at the top of that rock shelf and you walk around to the left and you kind of scramble your way down, kind of slide on your rear a little bit, get a little muddy to get down here. But this is really one that you ought to go see. And try to go out after a good rain. It's a waterfall that I like to take people from out of town when they come to visit. They never have been in the area. So one time I had some friends from Kansas City were here. So I said, okay, we'll go to Lost Valley first. So we went to Lost Valley and they're going, oh my, there couldn't be anything better than this. This is just so spectacular. So then we went to the Glory Hole after that, and we get down there and they're like, ah! They just couldn't believe it. They were just totally blown away. But yeah, this is a real neat one. This would be south of Boxley on Highway 21. You go down 21 past Boxley and you go maybe 5 or 6 miles to Highway 16 where it kind of forks off there. And you stay on 21 for about another 4 miles, and that'll put you in the vicinity of the Glory Hole waterfall. Just look for that gate. Actually, the last time I was there was actually a little bitty sign that said Glory Hole Waterfall. So I don't know if it's there or not. Somebody was asking me before about Tea Kettle Falls. Asking me they were thinking about going there. All right, this is one that's pretty hard to get to. And another thing about this one, it's really best, we've really got to have a pretty big toad strangler rain to get this one going. When me and my friend Toby here, we hiked here, we had actually had Hurricane Ike, the remnants of a hurricane, had gone over Northwest Arkansas. So we had a lot of rain. And so Toby knew how to get there. I didn't know. I never had been there. So he showed me the way. And it was pretty hard to get to. This is one of the reasons why it's really hard to get to, because you have to either hike in the creek a lot, or you have to cross this creek a lot. And this isn't the creek that feeds the Tea Kettle Falls, but it flows right past the front of it. Here's just another waterfall that we just happened to see while we were hiking to Tea Kettle Falls. So that was kind of a little bonus, little waterfall there. Beautiful waterfall, so easy to get to. This is down in the Buffalo River area. The Buffalo River area is kind of like ground zero for waterfalls. There's probably more waterfalls down there than about anywhere around here. But this is called either Twin Falls or Triple Falls. I guess you call it Triple Falls when there's 3, but if there's not so much water, there might only be 2. But to get here, you just drive to the Kyle's Landing canoe access. You drive to Kyle's Landing and the gravel road forks and goes down to Camp or Boy Scout Camp. You just follow that road down to the Boy Scout camp. You'll see where a creek kind of goes under the road. Just park there, walk about maybe 50 yards only back to this waterfall here. It's really, really pretty. Kind of the joke about the Kyle's Landing canoe access. People say, well, the Buffalo, it's like a class 1 and 2 river with a class 4 shuttle. Because that road down to Kyle's Landing is really, really rough. They got real big signs. RVs, no RVs or trailers or anything like that. So it's real bumpy. Woo. I can't remember what this waterfall is, but like I was saying, to me, the waterfall is more spectacular when you're down at the bottom. But this one, I think it's Hideout Hollow Falls, which is down in the Buffalo River country. To hike there, there's some real nice views that go along the trail, and it's one of those that, we were talking about a lot of times you're on top of a cliff. Well, this is one where, if you got fear of heights like I do pretty much. But when we went here one time, my friend, she wouldn't even hardly go very far at all. She said, "You all go ahead, I'm staying here." But anyway, it's a real pretty one to get to. Darn, I forgot the name of this waterfall. But it's also down in the Buffalo National River. Another good way to find waterfalls is to join a hiking group. Like the Ozark Society, they're not really a hiking group, but they have a lot of hikes to waterfalls. So they're a good group to get involved with, and they can show you a lot of waterfalls and show you the way. Or you can join the Hill and Dale Hikers. Is another really good hiking group, and they have a hike just about every week, and they hike to a lot of waterfalls. And I went to this waterfall with them, and it's another one that's down in the Buffalo River area. But in Tim's book, he kind of has them categorized like waterfalls in the Buffalo River area. You know, he has all those in the table of contents, and then Arkansas River Valley waterfalls, and there's some more of those. So this is the granddaddy of all waterfalls we got around here. This is Hemmed In Hollow, as most of you probably know. Down also in the Buffalo River area, kind of in the Ponca area. So this waterfall is 225 feet. It's the tallest waterfall between the Appalachians and the Rocky Mountains. Hard to get to. It's I think it's 3-mile hike round trip, but it's 1.5 miles downhill to the waterfall, but then it's 1.5 miles pretty steep hike back. But you just gotta take it easy, you know, and just take a lot of breaks, and pretty soon you'll get back to your car. But actually, the easiest way to see this waterfall is by canoe when you're canoeing down the Buffalo. But you kind of got to know where to pull off of the river. If you're on the weekend on the Buffalo and you see a bunch of canoes on the beach, that's probably where you want to pull off to go walk up to Hemmed In Hollow, and it's only a mile up to here. But another really neat thing about this waterfall is when it's breezy, you know, it's kind of narrow and it breaks up into all these droplets, and the waterfall kind of goes back and forth like a horsetail, you know. It's pretty cool. And if it's warm enough and you want to get under that waterfall and take a shower, man, it's something. And it's very refreshing too, let me tell you. But on a hot day, it sure feels good. So I just hope that maybe inspires you to go out and look at some waterfalls. Really, after we've had a good rain, in the wintertime, 2 inches, 3 inches of rain's a good amount to get waterfalls going. So you'll have about a 4-day window of opportunity to go see them when they're really good. So the more rain we've had, the more impressive the waterfall is going to be. So, anybody got any questions or anything? Yes, sir.
What the book you keep referring to, what exactly is the name of it?
It's called Arkansas Waterfalls.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
We have it
And yeah, I know they sell them out at Hobbs State Park Visitor Center. They sell all of Tim's guidebooks out there. Another thing about this book, you know, Tim's written a lot of guidebooks, hiking guidebooks and stuff. Well, in the forward here, he says by far this is the hardest guidebook that he's ever done, because he had to, you know, bushwhack back to some of these waterfalls, and you know, he carries a tripod and all kinds of heavy gear. So, anybody else got a question?
Flip, did you ever shoot Glory Hole when it was frozen? I don't remember
No.
ever seeing any of those.
But one of Tim Ernst's favorite pictures, it was in the Rural Electric Co-op magazine. He went there one time. It was really, really cold, and that waterfall was frozen. It really is a really cool picture. Yes, sir.
If anybody's interested in photography on waterfalls, the Photographic Society of Northwest Arkansas goes to these waterfalls at least once a year. I've been to about half of them with them. It's psnwa.org, and all y'all are welcome to come to our public meetings and learn all about photography of waterfalls.
Yes, sir.
Is that moonshine one on private property, or?
The what?
Is that moonshine one?
No.
On private property, or?
No, it's I believe it's Ozark National Forest, property.
Isn't that one on the Ozark Highlands Trail, the moonshine thing?
No,
You kind of have to leave the
there
park.
might be another one like it, but that one's right before you get to Devil's Den. Mhm.
But it's part of the trail that goes through Devil's Den. I can't remember what it is. There's an overnight hiking trail. Been too many
Could be,
years since I
but
hiked.
when my friend took me there, we weren't on any trail,
Oh, okay.
but there might be one. Anybody else got a question? I've sure enjoyed it, and thanks for everybody coming out.